Hi guys! It's Lolita and Draco from A.R.K Studios, and we just actually finished watching the movie Mirai that came out in early November. We're going to give you our thoughts on it and what our expectations were, what our overall thoughts were, and just some interesting tidbits that we thought were pretty good for you guys to know if you're interested in seeing. Warning though, we will be talking about the movie in depth, so if you have not seen it, stop right now, go to the movie theater, watch it, then come back and watch this again. Love you guys, and I hope you like it. Alright, so what were your thoughts going in? Or did you have any at all?
So the only thing that I pretty much knew about this movie was its title was Mirai, and I saw like one clip that showed up later in the movie, which was when the kid turned into a dog. I was like, well, this is interesting. So I went in expecting that there was going to be some form of future just based on the word and like basically something to do with time travel, but I wasn't sure how they were going to implement that. So that's all I was going in expecting. I didn't even see the trailer, and
I did.
You did, on the other hand.
I saw the trailer. I had no memory of it when I ran into the movie theater because I was late. But looking, like, I do remember like a little bit of like, it's supposed to be the older sister meeting the, younger sister meeting the older brother, but she's in middle school and like and he's still like a little kid. So I was under the same impression that it was going to be something like about similar to The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, which is an amazing movie. So that was my sort of thoughts going in, but sitting down and watching it, it was, I think, really flipped on its head from what we expected.
Yeah, it was very, very different than what I was expecting, and it's interesting you mentioned Girl Who Leapt Through Time, because if you look at the poster of this movie, it has a very similar kind of vibe to that movie, which again made me think, oh, maybe there's something to do with time travel.
Yeah.
Which in a way there almost was, but not the way that you expect it to happen.
Yeah, not in the same way.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So this movie in general, I think, was slice of life. Definitely
Very slice of life.
And more through the eyes of the child.
Absolutely.
Although you do get like over-encompassing look on how things are going, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So let's start at the beginning of the movie.
The very beginning of the movie was basically just showing like a bunch of just pictures of the family. There's this newly wed couple. They get a dog. They give love to the dog. Then they have a baby. They have the son.
Sorry, it just screams betrayal.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah, very much. And that later brings like a point that the kid like kind of talks to the dog in a way, and it's kind of like this like flow of things that happen, which was okay. So then the boy is born. Now they're paying attention to the boy, not so much the dog. Dog gets jealous, and then they have the baby sister, which is where the main setting of the movie starts offhand.
Yeah, and that's actually where I jumped in. So I came in just as the boy was waiting for the parents to come home with the new baby and everything. And I liked in the beginning how there was this little sense of wonder of like meeting your little sister for the first time, and how he agrees with the mom, like, yeah, I'm going to take care of her, I'm going to be nice to her and everything. And then like 5 minutes later, he's, you know, being mean to his little sister.
Yes.
And the mom's all defensive, like, what are you doing? And he even tried, you know, interacting with his little sister, but even then that was looked down upon because he was stuffing her in her crib with all these trains, because he was obsessed with trains. Like, you know, kids, when you grow up, you know, you have that one thing that you always love, and you try and share that with, you know, your new sibling, but she's a baby, so it's just like, can't really do much.
Exactly. So he's like, oh, you're boring, you know? But, you know, he still loves the dog, and that leads to the fantasy sequence where he goes outside, and I was actually, like, really wondering about this when I first saw that, which was he now sees kind of a personification of the dog. And I was like, at first I was led to believe, like, oh, I wonder if the dog is going to end up being, like, a spirit guide to him, like maybe he's using the dog as a way to kind of teach himself his own lessons in a way. And I thought that was the direction this movie was going to go, but it ended up not really being something that was really touched upon much.
Yeah, like my take from it was that it was the kid's imagination to deal with the situation. Like when he first was rushing down the stairs, he was like really upset and angry and everything, and we assume in reality, because we don't actually see it happening, we see the personification of the dog.
Exactly.
He's probably just yelling all this and getting all his frustrations out on the dog. And then just ended up, talking through it with him and in his own weird way, coming to terms with it. Yes. And then ends up playing with the dog and then making a mess in the house, pretending to be the dog and everything.
That's right.
So that was a bit of a trip, but I mean, it kind of gave you an idea for how the movie was going to go. Like, he would have a tantrum, and then he would sort of go on this little imaginative journey to try and learn from the situation and deal with it, and then get back at it again when he was done, processing it.
One of the things that really stood out to me was when they were playing red light, green light, and that kind of brought up with there were these really important dolls that she had.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that brought him to really think about, like, oh, future sister, because he sees the birthmark, sees these dolls. They talk about the importance of these dolls. Oh, if they're left out, then she's not going to get married for each year of each day that's not passed. And that got his imagination going again. Yeah. And so he's like, well, Daddy's not putting them away. This is kind of important. We got to do something about this. So then he gets the dog and the sister involved.
Oh yeah, that was a weird scene.
But it was really cute. It
was cute. It was really, really cute. But their expressions, because they had put all of the dolls away except for one little piece of the baton. Yeah. And that got stuck to the back of the dad's pants. So the red light, green light scene was them just trying to tiptoe real close to try and grab it. Yes. And before Dad notices and everything.
And I could so easily picture moments like that, what it would be like to actually see that happen. You're actually just seeing you're seeing it from the imagination perspective, and then the kid. And then the kid would probably just be pretending hardcore, that he's got these imaginary friends of his, which is the dog and the future young sister. But all this is just helping him to see eye to eye as to kind of almost entertaining and teaching himself these things to do. And that later led to him being the one to put the dolls away. He's like, oh, the dog and the sister helped me put it away, but it was just him.
Yeah. I do enjoy it out of all those flashback, I'm going to call them flashback scenes because that's kind of what they are, sort of.
Yeah, sort of. One of those things where you just got to see the movie and you'll understand.
Yeah, because it's really hard to explain, but my favorite one was when they met the great-granddad.
That was great. And that started with him learning to ride a bike with his dad, and that's when he started to create a better relationship with his dad. And he was really afraid and wanted to learn how to ride the bike, and of course, he's sad because he can't ride the bike yet.
Yeah, and he wanted his dad's support, but Dad had to pay attention to Mirai because she was crying and needed attention, and Mom wasn't around, so he had to learn it on his own.
Exactly. And at first, when he had this great-granddad scene, I thought it was actually meeting his future self because they were wearing basically the same outfit, and he was also tending to a motorcycle, so I thought, bicycle to motorcycle. Yeah. And that was the connection I was making with that. And they also kind of sort of looked alike.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're related.
Of course, but that was my first thinking, was he was meeting his future self, and it was cool to know that, oh, no, he was actually meeting his great-grandfather. And
which is also interesting because the great-grandfather was dead.
Yes.
Yeah, so something that we pieced together afterwards talking about the movie was that there's a photo album, and the mom is seen flipping through it occasionally. And right before this scene, actually, with the dad was they pointed out specifically the great-grandfather in the picture. And we were thinking, you don't really put two and two together when you're a kid.
Not at first.
But it's still, it's still there in your head. So he probably remembered the image, and he kept calling the grandfather Dad, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you kind of just put it in the two to two together, okay, this guy was in the photo album, but it's a guy, it's a father figure, probably must be Dad.
And I think another really important scene in this movie was when he was lashing out and did the whole train scene.
That scene.
That was trippy.
It was trippy and the overarching journey, the one that really sent it all home for this movie, I think.
Yes.
But it was really long and really weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
to basically put it in an abridged sense, it started off with him lashing out because his parents were like, oh, we're going to leave without you, because he was making a big deal about his shorts not being ready. So he goes, he's like, I'm hiding forever, goodbye.
Yeah, and then 2 seconds later, why aren't you finding me? Yeah. So it's really just a call for attention, really. Yeah. It's not that he didn't actually want to see them forever. But he thought that was the only way to get attention, so he would run away.
Yes.
But it actually all started with him technically meeting his older self, or what he
Yeah.
think his older self would be.
Yeah.
And that was actually interesting because we don't know who the guy is yet, but he's portrayed as like a moody teenager.
Yes.
And some would actually call it emo. I don't know about that, but just a moody, pessimistic teenager. And he's like, why are you fussing about this? It's just one little thing. You know, you can, if you were just to go on the trip with your parents, you'd be having all these memories, but instead you're wasting that time fussing over something that's not important. Mm-hmm. And his, you know, little him is still thinking, well, it's still important to me, and then runs away by jumping on a train to Tokyo Station. Mm-hmm. And that's when things got really weird. I mean, it was awesome seeing what Tokyo Station actually looks like, but when he decides, okay, I'm going to go home, that's when it got weird with their portrayal of the security clerk for Lost and Found. It was sort of like paper cutout kind of style, I think. Would you agree with that?
Kind of like some CG paper cutout, like weird puppeting animation.
Mm-hmm. And he was asking him all these questions. Okay, who are you? And he can really answer that. Okay, who's your mother? I don't. She's my mom. Like, what's your father's name? He's Dad. And he couldn't really answer anything that told him who he was, which I think is the kind of crux of all of this. Now that his family dynamic has been all changed and everything, he doesn't really know who he is, what his role is anymore. Mm-hmm. And then they send him on the train to hell.
Oh my. Quite literally.
It literally looked like a train you would go to hell. But the kind of turning point of that scene was when you see little baby Mirai, you know, about to get on the train. Mm-hmm. And he's like, no, you can't do that. And when he goes to rush in and save her, he, you know, comes to that's the realization, like, okay, I am her older brother. I am supposed to take care of her and protect her like I am doing now. And then once he comes to that realization, that's when older Mirai comes in.
Yes.
And actually shows him like little snippets of all the scenes that we've seen up till now of how important they are. That little moments make up who we are in a family tree. And that was actually something else that
was really nice.
That was really cool. Was in one of the scenes, you see the dad working because he's an architect, and you see a diagram, and we noticed a similarity of that diagram because when they went to take him back home, they went through what is their family tree. And the design that they went for the lineage was the same. And I thought that was really cool. They tied that in together.
Yes.
So for me, it was a solid 5.
Yeah.
But art-wise, what do you think?
The art is phenomenal. I love this studio. I've seen other movies from that, like A Girl Who Leapt Through Time, the Digimon movie, Wolf Children.
Yes. That was another point we wanted to bring up, was how the younger sister looked like Kai from Digimon.
Right, yeah. Kari.
Kari, there we go.
Yes.
I was saying Kai. Wow.
You were thinking of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you see enough movies, they just kind of merge together.
But your rating for it, scale 1 to 10, for the art?
For the art, I mean, it's one of my favorite art studios. So I'd say probably between a 9 and 10.
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. For me, it's between an 8 and a 9.
Yeah.
Just because I put, again, stupidly, the standard of Studio Ghibli is always going to be at the top for me. So, I mean, this is a strong below that.
Like an 8, 9.
Yeah.
So maybe we could both agree, like a 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm average a 9. And then finally, would we watch it again?
Maybe. I would watch things like Wolf Children again. Like that was a really good favorite. In fact, I've watched it 3 times. That one's my favorite from the studio by far. And that's another thing I noticed was you could notice little things here and there. Like there was another, the young mom looked kind of like Yuki from Wolf Children.
For me,
so that was kind of cool.
Yeah. For me, it wouldn't be the first thing I reach for.
No.
Like, if I ever want to reminisce and be like, oh, I remember this movie, I'll try and watch it again.
Show it to a friend who's never seen it before or something like that.
Yeah. But
for your own
I
self,
might.
not really.
No. I would watch Wolf Children again.
Yes. So
I think that's all our thoughts on this, right?
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot to say, and, would we recommend the movie? Yeah, definitely see it.
Yeah. It's definitely worth the money.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's up to watch again is up to you. But yeah, we enjoyed it, and we hope that you like our reviews on it. If you have any other comments or any other points that you think we missed, please make sure to comment in the video below. We will put our information in the description so you can like, subscribe, and keep up with us on all our social media accounts. Draco and I have actually a lot of things planned for the coming new year, so we're actually going to be talking about that over dinner in a bit. But I think we're good.
Yeah, spilled out all the beans. So do all that fun YouTube stuffs.
Thank you so much, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you again next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.